Amara Lewis stood alone in the bridal suite of the Silver Crest Vineyard, staring at her reflection as if the mirror itself held answers she'd been running from her entire life. The gown fit perfectly, ivory silk, crystal beading tracing her curves, a veil that shimmered like frost. The makeup artist had crafted a flawless version of her, soft rose lips, sculpted cheekbones, eyes bright with shimmering gold shadow. Her bouquet of white orchids rested on the vanity beside her phone, which she checked for the 15th time in half an hour. No messages from her mother, none from her father, and certainly not from her brother, Terence. A soft knock broke the tense silence. The wedding coordinator, Ms. Davenport, peeked in, her polite smile strained. "It's time, Amara. Are you ready?" Amara lifted her gaze toward the window overlooking the ceremony space, where 3 glaringly empty seats waited like open wounds. "Ms. Davenport," Amara whispered, her voice thin as tissue, "they're not coming, are they?" The coordinator hesitated, her smile slipping. "There's still time," she murmured, but both knew it was a lie wrapped in politeness. Amara inhaled sharply, smoothing the silk over her hips. She would not cry, not today, not for people who never chose her. The double doors opened, revealing the vine-covered garden filled with 90 guests who turned as one to watch her walk alone down the aisle. Their pity pressed against her skin like unwelcome hands. Some whispered behind cupped palms, others offered soft, encouraging smiles that only deepened the ache in her chest. Her gaze locked onto Jordan, the man waiting for her at the altar, his dark eyes full of warmth and unwavering love. As she stepped forward, she clung to his expression like a lifeline, a reminder that someone had chosen her even when her family hadn't. Jordan's hands reached for hers the moment she arrived at the altar, his fingers warm, grounding her in a way her family never had. "I'm here," he whispered softly, a private promise meant only for her. As the officiant began, Amara's mind involuntarily drifted to 3 days earlier, when she had begged her mother to attend. "We'll try, sweetheart," her mother had said, tone dismissive, almost irritated. "Your brother has an important firm event that weekend." Amara's voice had trembled as she pleaded, "I can pay for the flights, the hotel, please, Mom." In the background, her father had muttered, "Tell her we're busy." Now, standing in front of the man who loved her without hesitation, Amara forced the memory aside. She would not let their absence consume this moment. She lifted her chin, meeting Jordan's gaze, determined to speak her vows with a steady voice, not for them, but for herself. As Amara spoke her vows, her voice strengthened with every word. "I choose a future where we see each other clearly," she said, and Jordan nodded, understanding the deeper meaning others couldn't hear. When the officiant announced them husband and wife, Jordan's mother rushed forward to embrace Amara. "Welcome to the family, dear," Mrs. Reed whispered warmly, her arms tight, sincere, everything Amara had ever wished to feel from her own parents. During the reception, Jordan twirled her under string lights as the photographer captured each glowing moment. His cousins surrounded them with laughter, dancing in joyful circles. For a while, Amara forgot the empty seats, the unanswered texts, the familiar ache of being overlooked. But when her college roommate, Serena, raised a toast, to Amara, who finally found the family who deserves her, the words hit like a revelation. Maybe love wasn't meant to be chased. Maybe it was meant to be received freely. Later that night, Amara slipped away to check her phone one last time. The screen was blank, no calls, no congratulations, not even a courtesy message. Jordan found her standing alone near the venue doors. "They missed something beautiful today," he murmured, wrapping an arm around her waist. She looked up at him, her chest softening. He never made her feel like she had to earn his attention. For the first time, she allowed herself to believe he might be right. 2 years later, Amara sat in her office chair overlooking downtown Portland. Her screen displayed the finalized acquisition of Sparkframe Studios, $21 million worth of validation for 5 years of grit and innovation. Her team burst in with champagne, cheering. "To Amara!" shouted Jen, her creative director. "The woman who built an empire while certain people pretended not to see it." Amara laughed, clinking glasses with people who had always shown up. Her phone buzzed mid-celebration. A social media notification. Terence had posted new family photos from a private school fundraiser. Amara shouldn't have clicked, but she did. In the images, her parents stood proudly beside Terence, his wife, and their twin daughters. They looked like a flawless family Christmas card. The caption read, "Carrying on the Carter legacy, 3 generations strong. Not a single mention of her. Her chest tightened as she scrolled through their timeline. Hawaii vacations, holiday parties, her father's retirement celebration. All exclusive, all without her. Jen noticed her expression shift. "You okay?" she asked gently. Amara locked her phone. "Just checking messages." But her mind kept calculating. Terrence's life, the luxury house, private school fees, vacations, far exceeded his law firm salary. Rumors from distant cousins echoed in her mind. "Your parents bankroll Terrence. They always have." Meanwhile, her multimillion-dollar success hadn't even earned a text. That evening, after her team left, Amara scrolled through her parents' social media pages. They had hundreds of posts celebrating Terrence's achievements, the twins' milestones, family gatherings. Her existence was summarized by a single generic birthday post. "Happy birthday, Amara." No photo. No warmth. She shut her laptop with a soft snap, a decision solidifying inside her. The next morning, she called her financial advisor. "I want to finalize the purchase of the Porsche Taycan, metallic obsidian gray," she said. By afternoon, she held the keys to a $135,000 car. It felt extravagant, indulgent, and liberating. Not because she wanted to show off, but because she didn't need anyone's approval anymore. She snapped a single photo of the car gleaming in her driveway and posted it with the caption, "Dreams realized." 3 days later, her phone rang. The caller ID nearly made her drop the device. After 5 years of silence. "Amara," her mother said, voice sharp with urgency, not affection. "We need to talk. Family meeting. Tomorrow." Amara blinked. "After 5 years of nothing, you're calling about a meeting?" "It's important," her mother insisted. In the background, Amara heard her father whisper, "Tell her it's urgent." "What's important?" Amara asked coolly. "My wedding wasn't important. My business wasn't important. What matters now?" Her mother hesitated. "Financial issues. We need to discuss things, as a family." And there it was, the truth beneath the urgency. They saw the Porsche. They heard about the acquisition. Suddenly, she was family again. "Tomorrow at 2, Amara said, ending the call. The next morning, she slid into the Porsche, the leather buttery soft beneath her fingers. The drive to her childhood home took 40 minutes. 40 minutes of replaying birthdays spent alone, milestones ignored, years of silence. She parked, staring at the house that had always felt colder than any winter. Before she could knock, the door swung open. Her parents froze, eyes widening as they stared past her at the Porsche gleaming in the driveway. Her father's first words weren't "hello" or "we've missed you," but "you've done well for yourself." "Yes," Amara replied evenly. Inside, Terrence and his wife, Aaliyah, sat stiffly at the dining table. "Amara," Terrence said, nodding like they were cordial acquaintances, not estranged siblings. Her father motioned for her to sit. She remained standing. He sighed. "Let's get to business." He slid a stack of financial documents toward her. "Your brother's mortgage is 3 months behind. The twins' school tuition is overdue. We need your help." Amara stared at the paperwork, her pulse steady. "Before we talk about money," she said, "I'd like to know why I'm important now after years of being excluded." Her mother bristled. "We can discuss that later. Right now, Terrence needs us." Amara let the silence stretch until her father's confidence faltered. Terrence shifted angrily. "You're being dramatic," he snapped. "Families help each other. You've always had something to prove, always showing off your accomplishments. Some of us chose normal lives." Their mother added softly, "Your brother had more potential. He needed our support. You were always so independent." "Independent?" Amara nearly laughed. "You missed my graduation," she said quietly. "My scholarship ceremony. My company launch. My wedding." She tapped the table with each word. "All ignored." Terrence's jaw tightened. "This isn't about the past." "It is," she corrected. Her father pushed the loan papers toward her again. "We're only asking for what's fair." "Fair," Amara echoed. "You don't get to share the success you never acknowledged." Her phone buzzed with a text from Jordan. "You okay?" Call me if you need extraction. She exhaled slowly. For once, she wasn't the powerless one here. Amara slowly opened her briefcase, drawing every pair of eyes toward her hands. Her father leaned forward, expectant. Terence smirked as if he had already won. But instead of a checkbook, Amara laid a single document on the table. "This," she said calmly, "is the official announcement for the Lewis Media Scholarship Foundation." Terence frowned. "What is that supposed to be?" $16 million, Amara replied, "dedicated to young women in digital arts, girls who never had anyone to show up for them." Her mother's lips parted in shock. Her father stiffened. $16 million. Legally secured, Amara confirmed. Protected. You can't touch it. Terence slammed his palms onto the table. "You're giving money to strangers instead of your own family?" "I'm investing in people who actually benefit from support," Amara said. "People who won't use me." The room fell silent. The balance of power had shifted, and everyone knew it. Her father recovered first. "This is unreasonable," he growled. "We are your family." Amara reached into her bag again, holding up her phone. A recording timer blinked on the screen. 40 minutes of documented manipulation. "I've recorded this entire conversation," she said softly, "including the guilt-tripping, the threats, and the suggestions that I owe you." Terence jumped to his feet. "You can't do that." "I already did." She slid the phone into her pocket. "If any of you attempt legal claims against the Foundation or me, this recording becomes public." Terence's wife, Aaliyah, shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting away. Her mother's voice cracked. "Amara, sweetheart, you're misunderstanding us." "No," Amara replied, picking up her briefcase. "I finally understand you perfectly." She walked toward the door, her heels clicking against the hardwood like a countdown. Terence's voice exploded behind her. "You can't leave. We need that money." Amara paused, her hand on the knob. "No, Terence," she said without turning. "What you needed was to show up." Her voice was soft, but it struck harder than anything she could have yelled. "At my graduation. At my launch party. At my wedding." Her father muttered, "Don't be dramatic." But this time, Amara didn't shrink. She opened the door. "The opportunity to be in my life," she said, "expired years ago." She left the house without another word. The cool air outside felt like freedom after years of suffocation. Sliding into her Porsche, she pressed the ignition. The soft purr of the engine steadied her heartbeat. As she pulled away from the house that had shaped so much of her pain, she felt something she hadn't felt in years: direction. She tapped her car's hands-free call button. Jordan's voice filled the cabin immediately. "How bad was it?" "Exactly what we expected," Amara said. "But I'm done letting them define me." That night, the messages began. It started with her mother at 11:47 p.m., long, rambling voicemails filled with weeping pauses and appeals to remember family. By midnight, texts poured in from unknown numbers urging her to reconsider. She silenced her phone and placed it face down beside her lamp. Jordan slept peacefully beside her. She envied his ability to rest. In the morning, 6 more voicemails waited, her mother's tone shifting from sorrowful to accusatory. "What will people think," one message demanded, "when a daughter abandons her family in crisis?" Amara got dressed slowly, grounding herself in routine: moisturizer, mascara, the navy suit she wore when her company was acquired. Jordan handed her coffee. "Your father called my uncle," he said. "Terence has been calling everyone." "Desperation makes people predictable," she replied. At the office, the Foundation Board meeting ran smoothly. 12 women voted unanimously to finalize the scholarship launch. For once, Amara felt aligned with purpose. Halfway through reviewing the venue proposal for the Foundation's launch gala, reception called her office. "Ms. Lewis, your family is here. They're causing a disturbance." Through the glass walls, she saw her mother gesturing dramatically at security while Terence barked something at the receptionist. Her team looked to her, unsure. Amara stood, smoothing her skirt. "It's being handled," she said firmly. "Let's continue." Moments later, security escorted her family toward the elevators. Terence's voice echoed through the lobby. This isn't over. You have obligations. Amara didn't flinch. That evening, she emailed all three of them a single, sterile message. Any further attempts to contact me at my workplace will result in a formal complaint. All communication must go through my attorney. She signed it, simply, Amara Lewis. Jordan read it over her shoulder. Direct, he said. Necessary, she replied, feeling the weight of years begin to lift. 2 days later, she sat in her therapist, Dr. Grant's warmly lit office, jasmine tea scenting the air. How did it feel sending that email? Dr. Grant asked. Amara traced the stitching on the armchair. Not satisfying, she admitted. But right. Dr. Grant nodded. Boundaries are not punishments, they're protection. Amara's shoulders loosened. They're finally showing who they've always been, she murmured. I spent years thinking if I was better, louder, more accomplished, they'd see me. Did they ever? Dr. Grant asked gently. Amara closed her eyes. No, the truth settled like a soft but painful weight. I wanted their love. They wanted my resources. Dr. Grant leaned forward. And now? Amara inhaled deeply. Now I know I'm not responsible for fixing them. I'm choosing myself. For the first time, she felt the words resonate. Her healing wasn't found in convincing them, it was found in walking away. The next morning brought an unexpected twist. A reporter from the Portland Chronicle contacted her. Your brother spoke to us, the reporter said cautiously. About a family dispute. Amara froze. And we asked why none of them attended your wedding, the reporter continued. Their answers were revealing. Days later, the story ran, a sympathetic portrait of a daughter overlooked during milestones, now pursued because of newfound wealth. Her mother's attempt at a social media rant only fueled public support for Amara. Former classmates messaged her, We always wondered why they never talked about your achievements. Investors dismissed her father's attempts to contact them. The foundation's early applications doubled overnight. Naomi Blake, her first investor and mentor, released a statement praising Amara's commitment to uplifting women instead of enabling entitlement. For the first time, the public saw the truth, and Amara's silence became her most powerful statement. A week later, the Women in Media Alliance honored Amara with their Business Leadership Award. Standing on stage, she scanned the room, filled not with people who tolerated her, but with people who believed in her. Jordan sat up front, grinning like he had discovered the sun. Thank you, she began, steady. This journey started in invisibility, but it doesn't end there. I spent years measuring my worth by people who refused to see it. Now I measure it by what we build together. The audience rose in applause. Afterward, journalists lined up for interviews, but Amara kept her focus on the Foundation's mission. Her parents' financial downfall soon became public. Terrence's foreclosure, the twins' withdrawal from private school. The community connected the dots without her saying a word. Meanwhile, the Foundation thrived. Impact over bloodline. Purpose over obligation. She chose generosity, not for them, but for the young women she once needed to be. Later that month, Janine from the Scholarship Committee placed 3 finalist portfolios on Amara's desk. We'd like your input, Janine said. One application stopped Amara cold. A young filmmaker named Zora Hamilton, quiet, talented, overlooked. Zora's eyes in her interview video held the same exhaustion Amara had once seen in her mirror. That night, reviewing Zora's footage, doubt crept in. What if walking away from my family makes me a hypocrite? She asked Jordan. He took her hand. What would you tell Zora if her family treated her the way yours treated you? The answer came instantly. I'd tell her she deserves people who see her worth. Jordan smiled. Then trust your own advice. Amara exhaled. I'm trying. She emailed the committee her ranking, Zora first. For once, she felt she was not reliving her past through someone else, but rewriting it through impact. The Thursday before Thanksgiving, Amara and Jordan hosted dinner at their home. Their dining room glowed with warm light. Laughter from friends and colleagues replaced the tense silence of the family she'd grown up with. At the far end of the table sat Zora, invited as a guest of honor. Her framed scholarship certificate rested proudly on the sideboard. You're really mentoring us personally? Zora asked softly. Every step, Amara promised. This foundation isn't about money. It's about voice. Naomi raised her glass. To Amara, who turned pain into purpose. Everyone echoed the toast. Later that night, the local news aired a feature on the foundation, planned strategically during her parents' traditional dinner hour. "We build family through action, not obligation," Amara said on screen. Jordan muted the TV. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "For the first time, I think I am." The morning after Thanksgiving, Amara received a message from her parents requesting a meeting at a downtown cafe. She arrived in her Porsche, stepping out into the crisp air with calm composure. Inside, her mother and father sat at a small corner table, looking older, their confidence faded. Her father cleared his throat. "We should have been there," he said quietly. "At the wedding, and other things." Amara studied them carefully. "Everywhere," her mother added, eyes watering. "We made mistakes." The apology was incomplete, fragmented, more about their discomfort than her pain. "How do we fix this?" her mother whispered. Amara stirred her tea. "Some things aren't fixable. They're only acknowledged." Her father straightened defensively. "We don't need therapy," he said when she mentioned accountability. "It's non-negotiable," she replied. "I'll consider limited contact only after you begin counseling." They exchanged stunned glances. Amara stood. "I'm not punishing you," she said softly. "I'm protecting myself." When Amara left the cafe, she didn't feel the old agony of disappointing them. She felt clarity, clean, sharp, earned. Driving through downtown Portland, she passed familiar neighborhoods she once associated with longing. Today, they carried no weight. At home, Jordan greeted her with a warm kiss. "How did it go?" he asked. "They want forgiveness," she replied, removing her coat, "without accountability." Jordan nodded. "That's not surprising. I'm done bending," she said. "I offered them a way forward. Whether they take it is up to them." She spent the afternoon reviewing designs for the Foundation's first mentorship conference. Zora emailed with updates about her documentary, her excitement infectious. Amara felt her world shifting, pivoting toward people who valued growth, creativity, and reciprocity. The life she was building was no longer shaped by survival. It was shaped by intention. For the first time, the future felt like something she was choosing, not escaping. 3 months passed before another ripple of conflict surfaced. Amara received a voicemail from Pastor Williams, the minister from her childhood church. "Your parents are deeply hurt," he said gently. "Perhaps reconciliation is possible if you're willing to talk." Amara deleted the message. Her parents still hadn't begun therapy. Meanwhile, Terrence escalated his tactics. He sent 2 handwritten notes through the Foundation's public mailbox, disguised as letters from his daughters. "We miss you, Auntie Amara," one read, written in handwriting far too neat for 7-year-olds. She felt her stomach twist. Jordan held the letters gently. "They're using the kids now," he said quietly. Amara exhaled fiercely. "It's manipulation," she said. "Again." The final straw came when her father emailed one of her investors, implying that the family dispute might impact her judgment. The investor forwarded it to her with a single note: "We support you. And we're sorry you're going through this." The following week, Amara scheduled an emergency session with Dr. Grant. "I feel like the villain in everyone else's story," she admitted, sinking into the familiar armchair. "They're telling the world I abandoned them." Dr. Grant leaned forward. "Stepping away from abuse is not abandonment." "But the narrative is theirs," Dr. Grant cut in gently. "Not yours." Amara closed her eyes, absorbing the words. "I keep asking myself if I'm being too harsh," she whispered. "Would you ask that if this were happening to Zora?" Dr. Grant asked. The answer came instantly. "No, so why apply a different standard to yourself?" Amara swallowed. "Because I spent my whole life believing I owed them something." Dr. Grant nodded. "And now you're learning you don't." Amara felt something unravel, a tightness she'd been carrying since childhood. "You're allowed to choose peace," Dr. Grant said, "even if it disappoints others." The Foundation's spring exhibition marked a turning point. Zora's documentary premiered to a sold-out room, her voice shaking as she introduced it. Amara watched from the front row, pride swelling in her chest. After the screening, Zora found her. "I couldn't have done this without you," she whispered, hugging her tightly. "You did the work," Amara replied. Cameras flashed as reporters interviewed the young filmmaker, praising her fresh, emotional storytelling. Naomi squeezed Amara's hand. "This is your impact," she said. "Not a car. Not money. This." Amara felt the truth settle deep inside her. 4 years, she chased scraps of validation from her family. Now, she had created a platform where young women could stand tall, because someone finally believed in them. The applause echoed through the hall, washing over her. It was the sound of legacy. A legacy she built herself, not inherited. A legacy rooted in healing, not approval. One crisp morning, Amara stepped into the Foundation's art studio. Zora was adjusting her camera equipment. Light poured through the tall windows, casting golden stripes across the floor. "What do you think about this angle?" Zora asked. Amara studied the frame thoughtfully. "Shift it a little left," she suggested. "Let the light hit the subject naturally." Mentoring felt surprisingly natural. Empowering. Healing. As Zora worked, the walls behind her displayed photographs of scholarship recipients, each face a testament to opportunities Amara never had. She felt pride, but also a quiet ache for the girl she used to be. "Your documentary changed lives," Amara said softly. Zora smiled shyly. "You changed mine." Later, they reviewed the final cut together. When the screen faded to black, Zora wiped a tear. "I finally feel seen," she whispered. Amara placed a hand over her heart. "Good. That's exactly why this foundation exists." Awards and recognition followed. Interviews. Invitations to panels. Features in national magazines. But Amara stayed grounded, choosing work over attention. One afternoon, her assistant burst into her office. "The Portland Arts Council wants you to speak at their gala next month." Amara agreed, not for prestige, but for visibility for the foundation. Behind the scenes, Terrence's life continued unraveling, his home officially foreclosed, the family cars repossessed. The twins were removed from private school. Her mother posted vague laments on Facebook about daughters who forget where they came from, but every post only increased support for Amara. Strangers defended her. Friends defended her. Even colleagues she barely knew reached out. The public narrative had shifted. She no longer needed to speak her truth. Others were speaking it for her. One evening, Jordan looked up from his phone. "Portland loves you," he said. Amara smiled softly. "For the first time," she whispered, "I love me too." The night of the Portland Arts Gala, Amara stepped onto the stage in a deep emerald gown that shimmered under the lights. She didn't tremble. She didn't scan the audience for people who weren't there. She stood tall, shoulders squared. "My journey began," she said into the microphone, "as a girl who felt invisible." The room fell silent. "I thought if I achieved enough, my family would finally see me. But success doesn't heal absence. What heals us is community, purpose, and choosing people who choose us back." The audience rose in applause, some wiping tears. After the event, attendees approached her with gratitude, admiration, and stories of their own fractured families. Amara listened, offering warmth she had once begged for. Jordan wrapped an arm around her waist. "You're changing lives," he murmured. "Including my own," she whispered back, realizing how far she'd come from the girl standing alone at her wedding. As winter faded into spring, Amara's life settled into a rhythm she had never experienced. Peace. Real peace. She worked at the foundation in the mornings, mentored Zora and the new scholars in the afternoons, and spent evenings cooking with Jordan or hosting small gatherings with friends who had become her chosen family. One afternoon, while editing Zora's next film, Amara received a text from her cousin Rashad. "Your parents really miss you." She sighed, setting her phone aside. They still hadn't started therapy. They still hadn't apologized. They still wanted access without accountability. Later that week, she saw her parents walking downtown as she drove past. Their eyes met briefly through the car window. No anger. No longing. Just recognition of separate paths. Jordan squeezed her hand. "You okay?" She nodded. "For the first time," she said quietly, "I don't feel responsible for fixing anything." 1 year after the confrontation, the Crescent Foundation opened its new headquarters, a modern, sunlit building with glass walls and murals created by scholarship recipients. During the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Zora stood beside Amara, beaming. "You built this," Zora whispered. "No," Amara corrected gently. "We built this." The mayor handed her a plaque recognizing her contributions to arts education. Cameras flashed as Amara smiled, grounded, not in pride, but in purpose. After the ceremony, a young woman approached her shyly. "Ms. Lewis, my name is Jada. I'm applying next year. I just wanted to say, thank you for creating a place for girls like me." Amara touched her shoulder. "We'll be here when you're ready." Later, as she stood in the rooftop garden overlooking the city, Jordan wrapped his arms around her. "Does it ever get old?" he asked. She shook her head slowly. "No. This is the life I was meant to build." As spring deepened, Amara found herself spending more time in the new rooftop garden of the Foundation headquarters. Flowers bloomed in quiet symmetry, a place built for reflection, healing, and inspiration. One afternoon, while reviewing project proposals, she received another message from Pastor Williams. "Your parents are ready to talk," it read. Amara deleted it without hesitation. They still hadn't begun therapy. She had given them a clear boundary. They chose not to honor it. Later that evening, while Amara watered the rooftop plants, Zora approached with timid steps. "Ms. Lewis, I got accepted into the Northbridge Film Fellowship." Amara's eyes widened. "Zora, that's incredible." The young woman burst into joyful tears. "You believed in me when nobody else did." Amara hugged her tightly. As Zora left to celebrate with the other scholars, Amara gazed over the city skyline. Her story had begun in neglect, but it was blossoming into legacy. When summer arrived, invitations poured in for Amara to speak at universities, art symposiums, and empowerment conferences. She accepted only those aligned with her mission. At one event, she joined a panel titled "Rebuilding Identity After Family Estrangement." An audience member asked, "How do you forgive people who never apologize?" Amara took a breath. "Forgiveness isn't a gift for others," she answered. "It's a release for yourself. But forgiveness does not require reconnection." Afterward, several attendees approached her with trembling voices, sharing their own stories of families who loved conditionally. Amara listened with empathy, realizing how universal her pain had been. Later, back home, Jordan said, "You're becoming a lighthouse for people who feel invisible." She smiled softly. "I used to think invisibility made me weak. But surviving it made me strong." She wasn't ashamed of where she came from anymore. She was proud of where she was going. Autumn brought an unexpected opportunity. A national arts network wanted to create a documentary about the Foundation and the women it uplifted. They asked Amara to participate, but she hesitated. "I don't want the story to be about my family," she told the producer. "It won't be," he promised. "It will be about resilience." She agreed under one condition: Zora would help film it. Over the next month, camera crews followed the Foundation's programs, mentorship sessions, workshops, film screenings. Zora interviewed scholars with a poise far beyond her years. One afternoon, the producer filmed Amara in her studio office. "What changed your life path the most?" he asked. Amara looked at the portraits of scholarship recipients displayed on the wall. "Realizing I didn't have to repeat the cycle I was born into," she said. "I learned to build the community I needed. And then I learned to share it." During the documentary's final week of filming, Amara received an email from her father. It had no greeting, no warmth, just a request: "We need to speak. Your mother is struggling. Terrence is overwhelmed." She closed her laptop gently. Jordan watched her expression shift. "Same pattern?" he asked. She nodded. "They still haven't done the one thing I asked." Jordan stepped closer. "You don't owe them a response." "I know," she said softly. "But every message still stings." He wrapped an arm around her waist. "Pain doesn't disappear just because you grew past it." She rested her head on his chest. I just want peace. And you're building it, he reminded her. That night, she journaled for the first time in months. I can't change them, she wrote. But I can choose the life I want. I can choose the people who choose me. For the first time, the truth no longer hurt. The documentary premiered at a packed auditorium. People from across the arts community attended, including mentors, donors, and public officials. When the lights dimmed and the opening scene appeared, Zora adjusting her camera in a sunlit studio, Amara felt a lump rise in her throat. The film interwove narratives of creativity, resilience, and community. It celebrated the women the world overlooked, echoing a truth Amara once lived. Toward the end, a montage showed scholars speaking about what the foundation meant to them. One said, "I didn't grow up being seen. This program changed that." Another added, "Ms. Lewis had faith in me before I had faith in myself." When the documentary ended, the audience erupted in applause. Zora turned to Amara, glowing with pride. "We did it," she whispered. Amara squeezed her hand. "No, we all did." For the first time, Amara felt truly understood by a room full of strangers. Following the premiere, requests for partnerships poured in, city programs, national arts councils, even corporate sponsors wanting to support underrepresented voices. Amara carefully curated which collaborations aligned with her values. She refused anything performative or exploitative. One evening, as she reviewed proposals, Jordan entered the room with 2 mugs of tea. "You've built something unstoppable," he said proudly. Amara smiled. "Not unstoppable, intentional." She glanced at an old family photo stored in her drawer, the only one she kept. She used to stare at it for answers. Now, it simply represented a chapter she had outgrown. "Do you ever think about reconnecting?" Jordan asked gently. Amara considered it. "Maybe one day. But not without real change." "Then you're doing the right thing," he said. She nodded, realizing she no longer ached for what she never received. She had become the woman she once needed, and that was enough. Winter brought the Foundation's 2nd annual scholarship announcement. Dozens of young women packed into the newly built auditorium, buzzing with hope and anticipation. Amara stepped onto the stage, her presence commanding yet warm. "Every one of you deserves to be here," she said. "Your voice matters. Your vision matters." She announced each scholarship recipient, watching dreams ignite behind shining eyes. Zora handed out the certificates, beaming proudly. After the ceremony, one recipient's mother approached Amara in tears. "Thank you for seeing my daughter," she whispered. "People haven't always seen her." The words pierced Amara's heart with bittersweet familiarity. "She sees herself," Amara replied gently. "We're just helping her amplify it." As the reception continued, scholars surrounded her with hugs and excitement. Amara looked around the room, this diverse, brilliant community, and realized she had never been surrounded by so much genuine love. It was a healing she never expected. A few weeks later, Amara returned to the rooftop garden during sunset. She sat on a bench, breathing in the scent of lavender and fresh soil. This space had become her sanctuary, a place where she could be both strong and soft. Zora joined her quietly. "Can I show you something?" she asked, handing Amara a small leather-bound notebook. Inside were sketches, ideas, and storyboards for Zora's next documentary. "It's about generational healing," Zora said. "About breaking cycles." Amara's eyes softened. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "You're telling the story so many people need." Zora hesitated. "Do you ever wish your family could see what you've become?" Amara took a long breath. "They see it," she said finally. "But they may never understand it. And that's okay." The sky turned shades of gold and violet. "Healing isn't about them," Amara continued. "It's about choosing a future that doesn't repeat the past." The following spring, Amara was invited to deliver the keynote address at a national arts conference in Washington, D.C. on stage before thousands. She told her story, not of wealth, or success, or betrayal, but of transformation. "I spent years believing visibility came from someone else recognizing me," she said. "But visibility comes from stepping into your own voice, even when others try to silence it." After the speech, attendees lined up to thank her. A young woman trembling with emotion said, "My family abandoned me when I came out. Hearing you today, I feel like I can build my own life now. Amara squeezed her hands gently. You can, she said. On the flight home, Jordan reached for her hand. You've become hope for people, he murmured. Amara gazed out the window at the clouds. I became what I needed, she said quietly. And if that helps others, then every struggle was worth it. 1 year later, Amara walked through the Crescent Foundation's grand studio, sunlight pouring through the windows as scholars filmed, edited, painted, and created. The space buzzed with life, laughter, and purpose. Zora waved from across the room, adjusting her camera for a new project. What do you think? She called. Amara smiled. I think you've found your voice. She stood in the center of the studio, absorbing the energy around her. Her life had transformed from a desperate search for belonging into a testament of resilience. She no longer chased the love of a family who withheld it. Instead, she built a community rooted in compassion, creativity, and authenticity. As she looked out across the studio, a place filled with women who finally felt seen, Amara realized she had rewritten her story. She had created her own family. And now, for the first time in her life, she felt whole. Thank you for watching. Please, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel.